What if I told you that the way you're living your life right now is not actually the life you want to be living, but rather a series of automatic habits that have been programmed into your brain over time? It's a disturbing thought, isn't it? To think that the person you are today, the choices you make, the things you achieve, are all just a result of habits that have become so ingrained, so automatic, that you're not even aware of them anymore. It's like you're just going through the motions, day in and day out, without any real sense of purpose or direction. And the worst part is, this is not just a feeling, it's actually backed up by science. A study by Dr. Wendy Wood, a psychologist at Duke University, found that up to 45% of our daily behaviors are habits, and these habits are often performed without any conscious thought or deliberation. This is a shocking statistic, especially when you consider the impact that these habits can have on our lives. I mean, think about it. If almost half of what we do every day is just a habit, that means that a huge portion of our time is being spent on autopilot, without any real consideration for whether or not these habits are actually serving us. And this is where the concept of micro-habits comes in. Because what if I told you that by making small, tiny changes to these habits, you can actually create massive personal transformations over time? It's a concept that's been studied by researchers like Dr. B.J. Fogg, a psychologist at Stanford University, who has found that by creating tiny habits, we can actually create a ripple effect that can lead to significant changes in our behavior. For example, a study by Dr. Fogg found that by incorporating a tiny habit of flossing one tooth per day, participants were able to increase their flossing behavior over time, and even started to adopt other healthy habits as well. And it's not just limited to physical health. Micro-habits can also have a profound impact on our mental well-being, as found by Dr. James Prochaska, a psychologist at the University of Rhode Island, who has shown that small changes in behavior can lead to significant reductions in stress and anxiety. The idea behind micro-habits is that by making small, achievable changes to our daily routines, we can actually create a sense of momentum and motivation that can carry over into other areas of our lives. It's like the old saying goes, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And by changing one small habit, we can actually start to shift our entire perspective and approach to life. For instance, if you start by making your bed every morning, you're not just creating a tidy bedroom, you're actually creating a sense of discipline and responsibility that can carry over into other areas of your life. And it's not just about the specific habit itself, but rather the sense of accomplishment and confidence that comes from achieving it. As Dr. Wood's study found, when we perform a habit, our brain releases a sense of satisfaction and pleasure, which can actually motivate us to continue performing that habit and even start new ones. One of the key things to understand about micro-habits is that they're not just about adding new behaviors, but also about replacing old ones. For example, if you have a habit of checking your phone first thing in the morning, you can replace that habit with a new one, such as meditating or journaling. And it's not just about willpower. It's about creating an environment that supports your new habits. For instance, if you want to start a habit of reading every day, you can create a cozy reading nook in your home or always carry a book with you. The key is to make it easy and convenient to perform the new habit so that it becomes second nature. And the best part is, the more you practice these micro habits, the more they become ingrained in your brain and the less you have to think about them. It's like your brain is constantly learning and adapting. And by creating new habits, you're actually rewiring your brain to think and behave in new and different ways. The concept of micro-habits is also closely related to the idea of neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to reorganize and adapt throughout our lives. As Dr. Fogg's study found, our brains are capable of reorganizing and adapting in response to new experiences and behaviors, and by creating new habits, we can actually shape and mold our brains to think and behave in new and different ways. For example, if you start a habit of practicing gratitude every day, you can actually start to rewire your brain to focus more on the positive aspects of your life and less on the negative. And it's not just limited to personal growth. Micro-habits can also have a profound impact on our relationships and careers. By creating small, positive habits, such as writing a thank you note to a friend or family member, or taking a few minutes each day to learn a new skill, we can actually start to build stronger, more meaningful relationships and achieve greater success and fulfillment in our careers. The power of microhabits lies in their ability to create a sense of momentum and motivation that can carry over into other areas of our lives. By making small, achievable changes to our daily routines, we can actually start to build confidence and self-efficacy and develop a sense of control and agency over our lives. And it's not just about the specific habits themselves, but rather the sense of purpose and direction that comes from creating and achieving them. For instance, if you start a habit of taking a daily walk, you're not just improving your physical health, you're also creating a sense of purpose and direction and developing a greater sense of connection to your body and the world around you. And as Dr. Prochaska's study found, by creating small, positive habits, we can actually start to reduce stress and anxiety and improve our overall mental well-being. The concept of microhabits is also closely related to the idea of flow, which is the state of complete absorption and engagement in an activity. As Dr. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, a psychologist at the University of Chicago, has found, when we're in a state of flow, we're completely absorbed in the present moment, and our sense of self and time disappears. And by creating microhabits, we can actually start to create more opportunities for flow in our lives and develop a greater sense of engagement and motivation. For example, if you start a habit of practicing a musical instrument, you can actually start to create a sense of flow and engagement and develop a greater sense of purpose and direction. As we explore the concept of microhabits further, it's clear that they have the power to transform our lives in profound ways. By making small, achievable changes to our daily routines, we can actually start to build confidence and self-efficacy and develop a greater sense of control and agency over our lives. And it's not just about the specific habits themselves, but rather the sense of purpose and direction that comes from creating and achieving them. For instance, if you start a habit of writing down your goals and aspirations, you're not just clarifying your vision, you're also creating a sense of purpose and direction and developing a greater sense of motivation and drive. And as Dr. Wood's study found, when we write down our goals, we're actually more likely to achieve them because we've created a sense of commitment and accountability. The concept of microhabits is also closely related to the idea of mindfulness, which is the practice of being present and fully engaged in the current moment. As Dr. John Kabat-Zinn, a psychologist at the University of Massachusetts, has found, when we're mindful, we're more aware of our thoughts and feelings, and we're better able to manage stress and anxiety. And by creating microhabits, we can actually start to cultivate greater mindfulness and awareness in our daily lives and develop a greater sense of connection to ourselves and the world around us. For example, if you start a habit of taking a few deep breaths each day, you're not just reducing stress and anxiety, you're also creating a sense of calm and clarity and developing a greater sense of focus and concentration. And as Dr. Fogg's study found, when we're mindful, we're more likely to make positive choices and behave in ways that align with our values and goals. As we continue to explore the concept of microhabits, it's clear that they have the power to transform our lives in profound ways. By making small, achievable changes to our daily routines, we can actually start to build confidence and self-efficacy and develop a greater sense of control and agency over our lives. And it's not just about the specific habits themselves, but rather the sense of purpose and direction that comes from creating and achieving them. For instance, if you start a habit of practicing yoga or meditation, you're not just improving your physical and mental health, you're also creating a sense of calm and clarity and developing a greater sense of connection to yourself and the world around you. And as Dr. Prochaska's study found, when we create small, positive habits, we can actually start to reduce stress and anxiety and improve our overall mental well-being. But what if I told you that there are 5 tiny habits that can change everything, and that by incorporating these habits into your daily routine, you can actually start to create a sense of? So, we've established that microhabits can have a profound impact on our lives, but let's dive deeper into the science behind it. A study conducted by Dr. Wendy Wood, a renowned psychologist, found that habits account for nearly half of our daily behaviors. This means that almost 50% of what we do every day is done out of habit rather than conscious decision-making. This is both empowering and terrifying, as it highlights the potential for positive change, but also the difficulty of breaking free from ingrained patterns. Dr. Wood's research also shows that habits are context-dependent, meaning that they're often triggered by specific environments or situations. For example, if you always grab a coffee on your way to work, it's likely because the act of commuting has become linked to the habit of buying coffee. This is why changing your environment can be a powerful way to break bad habits and form new ones. If you're trying to quit smoking, for instance, it might be helpful to avoid places where you normally smoke, like bars or outdoor areas. Another fascinating study was conducted by Dr. B.J. Fogg, who found that tiny habits can lead to significant changes in behavior when they're paired with motivation and ability. He calls this the Fogg behavior model, and it suggests that for a behavior to occur, three things must be present: motivation, ability, and a prompt or trigger. When these three elements come together, even the smallest habits can have a profound impact. For instance, if you want to start a meditation practice, you might begin by committing to just 1 minute of meditation per day, at the same time every morning. As you build motivation and ability, you can gradually increase the duration and depth of your practice. So, how can you apply this knowledge to your own life? One practical step is to start small, ridiculously small. Instead of trying to overhaul your entire routine, focus on one tiny habit that you can commit to every day. This might be as simple as taking a few deep breaths when you wake up or doing a single push-up before bed. The key is to make it so easy that you can't say no and to create an environment that supports your new habit. For example, if you want to start a reading habit, you might put a book next to your bed, so it's the first thing you see when you wake up. Another step is to track your progress, no matter how small it may seem. This can be as simple as keeping a habit journal or using an app to monitor your daily activities. By tracking your progress, you'll be able to see how your tiny habits are adding up over time and make adjustments as needed. For instance, if you're trying to build a writing habit, you might start by committing to just 10 minutes of writing per day. As you track your progress, you can gradually increase the duration and frequency of your writing sessions. A third step is to create an implementation intention, which is a plan for when and where you'll perform your new habit. This might sound silly, but it's a powerful way to bridge the gap between motivation and action. For example, if you want to start a new exercise habit, you might say to yourself, if it's Monday, I'll go to the gym at 7 a.m. By creating a specific plan, you'll be more likely to follow through, even when motivation is low. Let's consider a real-life example to make this more relatable. Imagine you're trying to eat healthier, but you're struggling to break the habit of ordering takeout every night. Instead of trying to overhaul your entire diet, you might start by committing to one small change, like cooking at home just one night per week. As you build motivation and ability, you can gradually increase the number of nights you cook at home and explore new recipes and ingredients. The key is to focus on progress, not perfection, and to be patient with yourself as you work towards your goals. As you start to build these tiny habits, you'll begin to notice a profound shift in your behavior and mindset. You'll become more confident, more resilient, and more capable of achieving your goals. And the best part is, it's not about making some grand, sweeping change. It's about taking small, consistent steps towards a better life. By leveraging the power of micro-habits, you can create a ripple effect of positive change that will spread throughout every area of your life. In conclusion, micro-habits are a powerful tool for personal transformation, and the science is clear. Small, consistent changes can add up to make a big difference over time. By applying the principles outlined in this video, you can start to build the habits that will help you achieve your goals and create a life that's more fulfilling, more meaningful, and more authentic. If you're ready to start your journey towards positive change, remember that it's the small, everyday habits that will get you there. If this helped you see yourself differently, subscribe. I post new psychology insights every single day. And if you want to go even deeper, check the link in the description for Atomic Habits by James Clear. It changed how millions of people think and act.